Hi everyone, Obi Malupi here from Visionstryt. As you can see, I'm with the wonderful team from Brooklyn Optica, Ronald, Irina, and of course Magna. Ladies, how are you?
Well, thank you.
Yes, thanks,
to see you.
Very well, thank you. We've been interacting over the last couple of years, doing odd trainings there and there, talking about optometry, engaging one another on best practice in growing optometric practices, growing optometric teams. But last year, we took a completely different direction. And I think that's what I wanted us to talk about today in terms of what happened last year in your guys' business that resulted in you ladies reaching out to Visionstryt. And let's talk about that. Firstly, are you ladies well?
Yes,
thanks.
Fantastic. We were at the Contact Lens conference last year, and Visionstryt was advertising, and we started speaking about where we are at as a company versus where you ladies are at in terms of your optometric practice. And that resulted in you ladies then reaching out to Visionstryt to say you need assistance. Can you please give a short background in terms of where you are at as a business that resulted in the conversation that you and I had right now?
Okay, so last year we've been working together for more than 20 years, and last year we bought out the previous owner and we had to take ownership of Brooklyn Optica.
Wow.
And because of that, we wanted to implement a KPI system to if we do increases and things like that, to do it on a fair way and to help the staff that goes an extra mile to really give benefit to them also in a financial way. And for that, we needed guidance as to how to do it.
Wow. I obviously then, through the company, we committed to say we will be able to assist. We initially had that first meeting, the four of us, and discussed or getting a deep dive into the problems that you guys were having. So when we then had that conversation, the conversation moved beyond that initial KPI need that you had, and it evolved to so much more. That initial meeting, what were your thoughts around the conversation we were having pertaining to the problems that we were identifying were taking place? Because I came in here thinking to myself, Brooklyn Optica is a high-performing practice. Brooklyn Optica is one of the top practices in the country. You guys already have a number of systems, processes, protocols in place that enable you to function at the level that you are functioning at. So when we were still having that conversation, were there any other problems that you discovered that you realized that, wait a minute, we thought we were actually operating here, but there's so much more that can get us to the next level? What was your guys' thoughts or ladies' thoughts around that?
I think one of the first things, or what we said that day when we talked, is, like you said, it is a high-performing practice. But what we also realized is, even if it's an older practice, the practice has been around for between 30 and 35 years, if not longer. There's always something new that you can implement or change. But it becomes a bigger challenge if you're already a high-performing practice, to increase your new patients, to increase your sales, and to keep on being a high-performing practice. So for that, you need constant staff training. And we did that already. But I think when we discussed it with you, we realized that there's finer nuances that we could go into, especially in terms of sales, to identify your different customer markets and how to approach them. And also to maybe, I think we realized that we need to involve the staff more, we need to delegate more, and to identify people that can go in the extra mile, but we need to give them the tools to do that. And I think it was also a challenge for you to say, okay, how do you take a practice that's already a high-performing practice to the next level?
Wow. Were there any reservations you had about working with Visionstryt? from those initial discussions? Like, obviously you are needing something, and now you are forced to get outside help or assistance. Were there any reservations in what we then proposed as solutions to your business?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. We were confident in the knowing that Visionstryt is a well-known organization in the optical industry. So no, we were.
I
very
think
confident with
the
that.
passion that you especially have for optometry, but the business side, is something that everybody can learn from.
I think there wasn't reservations about Visionstryt, there was reservations of how we going to do
Implement it.
because it was packs and emails, and so it's a lot of work. But I think the fact that you did a lot of the donkey work, if you can put it that way, helped us a lot. That we didn't need to do that; we could just implement with your guidance.
I'll be honest with you. I was scared. I was scared because, like you say, you are already having the training on a weekly basis. You already have the buy-in of the team in many instances. You're already working together as a team. So you presented us with a very big challenge in terms of, like you say, the practice has been in existence for decades. Now it's under new ownership. And the three of you now are also looking at a sense of new direction, whereby that which has always been working in the practice, you want to continue with it, but then obviously you want to identify new opportunities, new areas of improvement that can elevate the practice to the next level. We then presented you ladies with a comprehensive plan of action, whereby the KPIs that you initially approached us with were just a part of the process. The process involved us having multiple sessions, week in, week out, sitting together as the four of us, but also getting your team involved. What was the most challenging aspects of that process for you ladies?
I think because we wanted to implement a KPI system as well, we were very time constricted. Because we approached you at the end of last year. Everybody knows it's silly season in optometry, December, January, February, and it put a lot of strain on the staff to get everything done and the new system. But I'm very glad we pushed through. We had our KPI meetings and all that the past week, and I think it really made a difference. So it's a very good process. I would just, if I would have to do it over, space it a bit and don't do it in January.
It felt rushed.
Yeah, I also think it was a bit overwhelming,
Okay.
but I think it was a well thought through program
Okay.
that you presented to us, and we were all able to implement it in
So
a
that-
short space of time.
As intense as it was, you were still able to figure out that we can actually start here, implement it at this stage. Would you say that you got the buy-in of your team as the implementation process took place? What was your feelings around, now that we committed to say we're going to do it, the timing might be wrong, but it had to be done, right? How did you feel your team reacted or responded to that? And how did you feel your leadership then evolved in us implementing the process?
I think all the role players, all the team, it was very exciting for them actually, because now all of a sudden they had a role to play and they had something to do, and we gave them tasks that they had to fulfill and come back with answers, and we took them out of their comfort zone, I would say, and I think they all really enjoyed that.
Wow.
So and they explored their own strengths and weaknesses, and we could see strengths and weaknesses that we didn't know existed.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow. Do you feel that, sorry to interrupt you, Manu, you wanted to say something?
I think also, like Rena said, we pushed them out of their comfort zone. But a lot of the tasks, and it was, in some sense, it was silly tasks. It wasn't huge stuff. but it pushed them out of their comfort zone. But even in that, they also learned that there's a lot that they tend to focus on the day-to-day and they forget what's happening or the bigger picture. And with that little task that was delegated to him, that they were responsible for a week, and then he changed over, so they all got exposure to everything. I think they realised also there's a much bigger picture going on behind the scenes than just greeting the customer and testing their eyes and dispensing them. And all that little parts behind the scene and the whole process that the customer goes through from when he walks into the door until he walks out and he gets followed up 2 weeks later makes the journey. And that's what we're focusing on, is that special journey.
Right.
But I think a lot of them realize the extent of the journey with that responsibility of the different tasks.
Wow, I like that. What about our program was opened your eyes to something new or exposed you to a different way of thinking? Were there particular instances where you're like, wow, this is different, this is actually what we need, or how can I put it this way? What part of the program or aspects of the program stood out the most for you ladies? Whether it be on the leadership side, the training side, the protocols, the procedures, the processes that we highlighted that Brooklyn Optica needs to focus on. Is there anything that you feel like, you know what, the program overall was good, but what key areas stood out for each and every one of you as we implemented the process?
I think that being an optometrist, we focus so much on the clinical side of the business, and that is what we are good at. But you have to make time to grow a business. You can't think that the back end and everything is just going to happen while you test eyes. It's very important to do a good eye test, but you need your whole team to be with you to implement it, and you have to take time out of your testing room to implement these type of things.
Wow, I like that. So from what I've known about this practice, you are already doing training on a weekly basis. You are already having leadership meetings. You are already having specific training sessions or meetings with your team, right? Now that we then come with something different, did you feel that our program added or sort of like played to elevated what you're already doing?
I think definitely, and the thing that I think where it stood out most is there's always somebody that gets lost in the crowd.
Okay.
And those people, because we gave them different tasks, everybody had to do a meeting and run the meeting, things like that. So you push them out of their comfort zones, and we saw a lot of strengths that we didn't know people had. So we identified weaknesses as well, and then you need to take that person out of that situation. But you learned about a lot of strengths that an introvert maybe won't say. So they might pull back in a team, and you will never see what they actually can do. So I think that's one of the things that I've
So the program was sort of like inclusive of everyone,
Yes.
irrespective of the type of person they are or the level of experience
That's good.
they had in the practice. What stood out the most for you then?
I think for me, was that, like Renal said, you get lost in the day-to-day, but for you, highlighting what a high-performance team looks like and what the characteristics of the team and even individuals in that high-performance team, personality traits that people have or need to work on. I think the whole high-performance definition and the way you explained it and highlighted the characteristics was, for me, I think everyone learned a lot about themselves.
Wow.
Even us as a leadership team. I mean, you gave us feedback on everything. So I think it was a personal growth journey as well.
And I also think the saying of together we stand, divided we fall. I think, the employees also, they felt they also helped each other in certain aspects to stand together
Wow.
and form a unit. and there were certain grey areas that we didn't know about that was actually coloured in. So
Wow.
it was an excellent program.
How are things now in practice? It's months later now. You're more on a DIY session or part now. We're not coming to the practice as often as we were coming before. How is that momentum? Because a lot of the times practices shy away from, let alone standardized training. So now we then came and brought a high performing type of system and process. What the continuation after that? Do you still find that everyone is still functioning at that level? How is the buy-in? How is the impact on the business been? Whether it be sales, team performance, overall, how has it been the last couple of months?
I think, as I said, the KPI program went well, and
Wow.
we've finished that. With the other stuff, where we were a lot on a rotating system, we looked more at what the strength and the weaknesses is,
Okay.
and we've changed it a bit so that we don't rotate so quickly.
Okay.
We had to do that to implement it, but everybody that where they were standing out, we are putting them in that role now
Wow.
to take ownership there. So
Wow.
it is a lot of holidays now, but we are looking at the next 2 to 3 months to have one person in a category and talking through the tasks and to keep up all those things that we implemented so it doesn't just go away.
The type of optometric practice, would all practices be suitable to be part of the Visionstryt Key Performance Solution, or do you feel that it's still a high level type of solution or toolkit? What are your thoughts around that? Is it applicable to everyone or all type of practices, or practices that are already passionate about training, development, already having processes in place? What kind of basically practice would be suitable for this type of?
I think any practice that's got a drive in them, who wants to grow. So small, big, high performance, not high performance. If you want to grow your business, I would definitely say they should implement something like this, because it's tools that really can help you now and in future. It's something that will stay with us. And we will always be able to learn something out of going back through the whole program. There's always something new to learn. For us we've been employees for so long, now we're employers. So even that, on that basis, it helped us a lot.
Wow.
And I think, like Rena said, it's for any practice, because you tailor your package to whatever that specific practice needs. So whether it's a new practice starting out and you're going to go back to more basics, or if an existing practice that just needs to go the next level, you'll tailor it for that. So it will definitely work in any practice. And at the end of the day, we all love optometry, but it is a business, and you need to grow your business, especially in the financial times that we live in. I think in any practice can benefit.
You raised something very important, which I wasn't going to ask, but you're the one who led me in that pathway. When you look at training and development with optometric practices, firstly, like you mentioned earlier on, time does not get set consistently enough for training and development of the optometric team or practice. But secondly, it's the investment of resources and the costs involved in that continuous training. Now, would you say our program was value for money? Because another person might look at it and say, this is an expensive exercise or an expensive training program. Would you say that the cost was justified?
I think so, because like I said, the amount of work and information that you provided us with, if one of us decided to do it ourselves using Google and whatever the case might be, I think the amount of hours that we would have spent on getting the information that you gave us would have been far beyond the cost. if you take in professional time, if you work it out that way. But you're getting the benefits, and it's not just the program in a once-off. It's a relationship. So I know we can phone you and say, oh yeah, I think we need a follow-up on the sales training. We also said we did a leadership evaluation quite early on, but that was before I think the staff really understood where we're going with this. So you also said we'll do a follow-up in terms of that to see how was it perceived, how the team perceives everything.
Yes.
So it's not a once-off.
It's a continuation.
It's a continuation, and it's a relationship, and I think that's value for money.
Definitely, and it's a comprehensive program. You know, it's just, as Mana said, you know, if you go and Google, and we did that, we Googled to see if we couldn't do it ourselves, but I mean, your program is just so thorough. There's aspects there that we never even thought about, or that Google don't tell you.
Yeah.
So no, definitely, it's worth every penny.
And I think the biggest thing as well is that you are involved in it, because if you just Google it, then you can maybe get the stuff, but there's nobody holding you accountable of implementing it and implementing it right, and saying, how's it going? Did you do this? Did you do this? Because that is important as well, because otherwise it's a year down the line and you've maybe got the first evaluations out and didn't do anything further. So to have a partner to hold you responsible in what you need to do in your business is also very nice.
No, thank you for that, because we're very committed to this. You know, we're very passionate about this. I think my interaction with all three of you has always been on training and development from the onset that we started getting to know one another a few years ago. So for us, it's something that we're very committed and passionate about, in terms of no optometric practice will benefit by you just giving them a booklet and say, go and do this. You actually need someone, like you say, to hold your hand and to implement the changes, because there was stuff that as you were busy implementing it, I realized that, oh, we can tweak it this way for our business or for the toolkit itself. So I also learned a lot more about our own approach as a result of seeing you ladies implemented in your practice. So it's a two-way street, because like you say, each and every single practice will have different needs, and so as you customize the program for a particular practice, you learn new things about that as well. I've thoroughly enjoyed working with you ladies, and I'm even looking forward to the remaining part of the year and the program, as we then put it to the test and get to see the impact it will have or has on the business, and the long-term implications or influence as the business then gets to elevate to beyond a high-performing practice. So thank you very much for the opportunity, because this was not an easy project. It wasn't an easy project, but I loved every minute of it. I really, really loved every minute of it. What's the best time to schedule training in the practice? For practices that are going to be looking at this interview and thinking to themselves, you know what? If Brooklyn Optica goes through a process like that, and I already thought and believed that I'm benchmarking what I do in my business with Brooklyn Optica, but now I'm hearing here that Brooklyn Optica is also putting themselves in a position where they can get outside help so that they can continue functioning at a top level. When is the best time to do training? How often should training be taking place? And where can an optometrist or an optometry practice who has never done any form of continuous training start? What would you advise that individual or practice that's looking at this and thinking to themselves, where do I start?
I think they should start by contacting me. I don't think there's a best time. I think every day, is the best time. Whenever you've got that thought of,
That's the time.
That's the
Because
time.
we did this in the most busiest
That's right.
and craziest period in optometry, and yet we did it. So no, there's no excuse. There's literally no excuse. You just have to get on with the program and do it. But thank you very much, ladies. This has really been a blessing to be able to come and contribute a small amount of value, which turned out to be quite a lot of value to the practice. And I'm looking forward to more collaborations in the near future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it.
Everyone, reach out to us, ob@visionstryt.co.za. Our optometric practice action plan, as well as our key performance solution toolkit, are really structured to help elevate your optometric practice to the next level. We're super passionate about optometry, about practice, about what happens not only in the examination room, but also in the front of office. And so don't waste any more time delaying getting started with taking your practice to the next level. Now is the time. Reach out to us, make an appointment so that we can come into your practice and add value, irrespective of where you're located or based. Anywhere in the world, we'll get to you guys. So take care. Make sure to connect with Visionstryt across all platforms, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Until the next time you see us in your practice, make sure you stay connected. Thank you very much.
Thanks.